So let's talk about the NBA and especially let's talk about Damian Lillard. If you guys didn't see, Dame made some recent comments about him and Milwaukee, and they're not great. They're pretty bad. They're pretty terrible. So these comments revolved around Dame's situation in Milwaukee apart from basketball. Obviously, he did speak a bunch, and if we're being honest, I think that he is kind of, getting like a call out, you know, and I think that it is more to do with the fact that Dame, I don't feel like has gotten the treatment and the success that he feels like he should have gotten in Milwaukee. And I do believe that have led him to feel definitely a certain type of way about all of these things. He says, being away from your children for someone as close to them as I am is hard. He obviously says this because his children and his family had to stay in Portland, even though did think that he was obviously reminiscing. He has been a guy who has been in Portland for his entire career. His kids have made basically their lives or what's of their lives in Portland. His wife probably has a job over there. If not, then she probably is a stay-at-home mom and takes care of the children. And Dame leaving to Milwaukee, I think that if he would have gone to Miami, then maybe he would have probably moved his family. But I think due to the location and the lifestyle at which his kids have been, attended to, I do believe that they're probably, too old to at this point change their life. They've had experiences. They're not, you know, 2 year olds. They're not 3 year olds. He actually has kids which are older and have experiences and are right now are growing up, and he probably wants to be there for them. Well, obviously he does because he just said it. He keeps going and he expands. In Portland, I have all my family, my wife, my children. My mother and brother lived on the same street as me. All my cousins and my friends lived there. After the games, he would go out to dinner and spend time with them, is what this article says. As I am reading what he was saying right now. I feel alone because I am a very family oriented man. But there are consequences of having made a decision as an adult man. I do believe that that last comment was kind of petty, right? And I do think that it is kind of, a sad. But I also do think that he's getting paid hundreds, well, not hundreds, but his contract is hundreds of millions of dollars. And with what he gets paid, he could probably fly his family to Portland for even if it's just a few days in summertime. He's gonna get to go back, and even if he's just gone for work, it is probably something that he can deal with. But he expands by saying, "My life here is to go train, come home, watch boxing, and play video games. I refresh the YouTube channel of Fight Hype like 100 times a day and see if there's new content. The truth is that I don't have much of a life here." Now, that is especially concerning because it's obvious that this is something that's affected him greatly. I also do think that it is because of the record that he has in Milwaukee, and I also think that it has to do with this being a PR move to try to get Milwaukee to do better. Now, what will I say? Milwaukee is the third seed. They are doing pretty good. They've won 3 straight games, and they've won against good teams. The Sixers, the Timberwolves, well, they blew out the Hornets, but of course they're the Hornets. And when you see these teams, right, what Dame also expanded by saying that he thought that Milwaukee was going to be where the Celtics are right now. So that's obvious that Dame was probably expecting him to go to Milwaukee. And through his play, I think he was looking for a way to maximize himself, right? And to play the best basketball that he can. But at the same time, I also do believe that him not seeing 100% the results that he wanted have made him probably like feel worse about his situation. The reason why I say that is because Dame is obviously, he said it, he's a family oriented man. He's obviously a man who cares a lot about his kids, his family, his people, and it's very clear that he had a lifestyle in Portland which was a dream to many. You know, his mother down the street, his family there, his cousins, his experiences, you know. And it wasn't just the fact that he had this lifestyle, it was also the fact that he could go and whenever he wanted, right, he could just maybe see his family when he was having a bad game, a bad day. He could go and probably socialize way more than he can in Milwaukee. And in my opinion, even though I do believe that we should feel bad for a situation in the sense that it's definitely sad that his kids are probably going to have to pass less time with their father due to this decision that he made, I also believe that there comes a price to the decisions that you take. And he said this, you know, that's just what being a man and making decisions looks like. But him pouting on Instagram is not going to make the situation better. And I'm sorry, but it's like he made the decision. Nobody told him to leave Portland. Portland, they were going to keep him, keep giving him millions and millions of dollars, hope to make it work as much as possible. And if it didn't work, okay, you know, we'll send you to another team. But Portland was ready to keep going with Dame, right? They were not ready to move on from him. They had this whole other plan, which they were about to start with Dame and with his, you know, presence. But I also do believe that using this, you know, likability and having this situation, I also do think that it is Dame's fault. Look, it's obvious, and we should feel bad because, well, or at least we should feel some empathy for him. It's not easy, and it will never be easy to leave your family, especially when you've been so accustomed to a situation. But now, it's what you got, at least until next season. And even though I do not support player empowerment in the sense that I don't like when players just leave teams after one season and when they haven't tried with them and when they haven't put in the effort. But if we're being 1,000% honest, right now Dames has to step up. It is not anymore about your family. You're about to head into the playoffs. You need to get back in form. You've been having a down season compared to most of your seasons. And if we're being 1,000% honest, you haven't been the player which you promised Milwaukee to be. Yes, it's true. Milwaukee hasn't also been the team that they promised you to be, right? Because it just didn't work that way. They've had a worse coach. Giannis has been definitely worse, or at least he's been much less, you know, of a superstar. He's been taking more of a calmer role. And there is something to be said, right, in the sense that there is a lot of stakes that go on, especially when you're playing for a franchise that's competing for a championship. Now, as we said, he chose it. He said yes to go to Milwaukee. Like, yes, they traded him there, and it's obvious that even though they traded him there, he was happy going to Milwaukee. He was happy being there. He accepted it, and then he kept going with stride. He thought that he would probably win easily. Now, is that Milwaukee's fault? Probably. Is that Dame's fault? Also a little bit for thinking in that manner and being so optimistic with these things. Now, what is there to do? Well, now is just to put your head down, and even if you don't enjoy it in Milwaukee, try to make the best out of it. You already went there. You already decided. You already made the decision, and you already left. So right now, there's nothing that you can change. There's nothing that you can say which will change what you've done up until this point. So now, what is most important is just to focus on the future, focus on winning, and focus on getting that ring which you went to go chase.